Hey everyone, how's it going? Can you guys just let me know you can hear me, please? Yeah, I just want to make sure is the sound okay compared to last time. There was some echoing. I hope there's no echoing on your end. I did do some crash course on streaming on OBS, so I think I solved the echoing issue. So I just want you guys to double confirm with me if you don't mind. Is the sound okay? Is the video okay? Is the quality of the video okay as well? Can you see my charts? Can you see my drawing? All the above. If you can just give me a quick response on that, that would be awesome. And then we can get started. Thank you very much. I'm not moving the screen, that's why. But sound is okay. I just want to make sure sound is okay. Yeah, I'm not moving the screen yet. Don't worry. I'm not moving the screen yet. Okay. Oops. So how is this quality? How is the screen now? Is this buffering or no? No issue on TradingView. Yeah. Thank you very much. TradingView is usually good. I just want to double check with, is the YouTube better in terms of video? Is it still buffering or no? Um, yeah. Is it okay? Is it good for me on yeah. Let me do something on my end to change. Screen is not okay. Okay, so trading view should be okay. So thanks for pointing that out, my friend. So is the YouTube okay? Can I just get everyone to say it again? Quality, sound, video, is that all okay? Or is it still buffering? If that's all good, then I'll keep this setting. I appreciate you guys working with me on this because obviously I need an audience to give me a response back. Is it good now? Okay. I'm gonna stick to this configuration. So we're gonna move forward now, if you guys don't mind. So it looks like it's showing me also good as well. All good. Thank you so much. So let's get started, okay? I appreciate that. Sorry I waste some of you guys' time. We're gonna get started. I'm not in any current position. Okay, I'm not in any current position right now. I closed down all my positions as in my recap video. So no position open, but I have a few positions that I think should be pretty decent developing. So let's go over now. Let's do the weekly outlook now. Now I want to go over kind of the position I think it's going to be the most potential or most promising. I think there's some that's looking like it could be pretty decent. Okay, so let's take a look here. Try to refresh Joy if you think it's not showing you good. I hope it's okay for everyone else. I am trying my best to make it better. So let's start it. I'm looking at dollar yen here. All right, so dollar yen here, I think there is some potential opportunity here. We talk about dollar yen quite a bit, few times, right? Every time when the price is at the top here, right, we're potentially looking for sell setup, right? Because we're looking for sell setup here. I think here, once again, we're at the top here. It's just like similar price action where we have a really strong bullish push up. But instead, we're basically at the top of the current structure, just like we're at the top of the current structure now. And I think there is opportunity here where we can potentially look for a potential downside followed by continuation. I think this is a decent sell setup down to low here, and I think there's quite a bit risk reward to push down the price all the way down. And as we can see, we have been in this larger consolidation for quite a bit of time, right? After this initial impulsive move, right, from this ascending channel, this is the start from when the price originally pushed up on a higher time frame and basically failed to continue higher, right? This is just a larger consolidation, kind of how you see it, but it's not showing you kind of bullish price action to continue higher, which what we're used to see. What we're seeing here is basically ascending structure here. We had a reversal push down. It looks like this can be some sort of continuation for this bearish move, and potentially there is a bearish sell opportunity here. That's probably the best or the better ones that I'm seeing a potential entry or a potential setup that is developing. Definitely looking at this one for a potential sell. I think there's a lot of opportunity here for this potential sell if we do get price to push down. First lower time frame continuation bearish price action and look for the sell down. Right, there's probably pretty good risk reward here. I think I was looking at this. Depending on your entry, of course, depending on your stop loss, whatever, right? Depending on this correction, but you can get 6 to 7 to 1 or something like that if the sell develops, right? But again, wait for confirmation, right? Don't just jump in on the sell, right? It's people who jump in on the sell here when the price is still not showing you the bearish opportunity yet, and you end up getting tagged out here just to see the price has worked out, right? So be careful in this area. Another one I'm looking at is Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie, it is still looking pretty bearish to me. I'm looking at this as a clear kind of a bearish reversal. That we know that there is a higher time frame head and shoulder here. Now the right shoulder here is a little bit tricky, right? Some of us maybe caught the sell, some of us maybe get break even or -1. I personally got I think break even and the -1, right? So I got break even here and then I got -1. Update these in my recap video. Now it depends on what's going to happen here. It almost looks like this is forming another head and shoulder. Well, is this going to be a continuation down move and then a continuation downside? Is that going to be a continuation price action? A little bit hard to explain, and maybe some of you guys already entered this sell, right? If as long as that fits your plan, go ahead, right? But I'm still looking at this to see what's going to develop here on a little bit. Is it going to give us a little bit more consolidation and then push down? Either or, I'm looking at this as a pretty clear kind of price action. One of the better ones out there, combining with what's going on a higher time frame. So higher time frame double top, head and shoulder potentially, and looking for this potential reversal down to the low here. And if this head and shoulder does work out, then further downside is possible. Alright, so that's Euro Aussie, and I think another one that I was really looking at is also Aussie Kiwi. Right, so Aussie Kiwi here, we know that we're in this larger descending structure, descending channel here, so multi-time frame analysis, we have some bullish activity now. Now I was looking at this then to see if there's going to be possible entries here. I think entering here like this is a little bit too wide. It's not as big, or it's not as good risk reward if you're trying to enter something. I think it's about 50 pips like this. So I think the better method or better entry here is we can wait for a completion of this descending structure, And if we have that impulse continue to the upside, there at some point we're going to get a lower time frame continuation. I think entering here would be ideal to the top here. I think this, again, pretty good risk reward for that move. And we know that we are at a potential higher time frame double bottom, and that potential upside here is looking pretty promising. We know that this is quite corrective, right? This is not a impulsive phase, this is a corrective phase, right? So we know corrective phase leads to an impulsive phase, and looking by what the overall price action is, it's possible to get a bullish reversal. All right, so these are the three, I guess you can say, best entries or best opportunities that I see right now. And as you can see, when I update in my Telegram, I did update other couple pairs, like a couple Aussie pairs and stuff. I'll go over those as well. But I don't see too much here on the dollar or the yen pairs, to be honest. Certainly there's probably some entries or development that you guys are seeing, but personally I prefer to wait for a little bit more development on them before I consider my bias. I'm fairly still neutral on some of them, so I'm happy to be a little bit on the sideline and just wait for more development. That's all we do, right? If it's not something that I will right away identify and willing to put the money in, then I'm not going to do that, right? Now, let's take a look at the week ahead, guys. Hope everyone is well. Nice. So those of you guys who are giving me the pairs, please give me your long or short, like your bias, instead of just giving me a pair. I would want to see your direction, your analysis, your bias on the pairs, so we can take a look at that instead of me giving you what I think. So let's start with dollar index, and then we'll kind of go down the watch. You can see on my watch list on the right, where I'm just going down this in this formation. Anything that's flagged is the one that I'm going to talk about. If you have any pairs that you want me to take a look, please add sell or buy, long or short, so I know what's going on. So after currency, we'll go over commodities, and then we'll go over indices, and we will go over crypto at the end. Okay, so just this is the order that I'm doing the stream at. So I'm going to start with dollar index. So what's going on in dollar index here? Well, I think there's kind of two possibilities, and this is what I mean by it's best to just kind of wait and see what's going on in this area here. Now, you can potentially see that there is a larger structure, right? We talk about this larger structure pretty much for quite a bit of time already. We know that this is a strong impulsive move to the downside. That this structure that we're currently in can easily be a bearish continuation to the downside. Okay, so now that's the bias here, but what is going on here that is going to be a little bit more confusing for most of us is that, are we getting a kind of a head and shoulder pattern here, right? You can see that there is kind of a development here. This is like a left shoulder, head, and then we have like a right shoulder here. So if that's the case, that fits the higher time frame bias, right, for a potential continuation. But I think some of you guys also see that there is like a bullish push up and then bullish correction here. And then looks like there's another correction developing here. So if this correction that we're looking at end up pushing up above the high here and then continuation afterwards, then certainly this bearish larger correction may not be valid anymore, and then we might see dollar continue to get strength. So what is the problem here? What are we going to look at? Well, just be patient, right? Because at this point you can pretty much argue that there is both setup that is all possible. So the best here is to wait for what this last bit of the consolidation will do, right? Either it's going to give us the head and shoulder pattern here and then align up with the overall higher time frame bias, and then we end up basically selling from the bearish head and shoulder and then continue downside. That is the, I guess, the more likelihood if we look at the overall higher time frame. But certainly there is bullish opportunity or bullish price action here on the lower time frame as well. So we cannot ignore that, right? So the best thing here for me here is to just wanted to see what will happen in this last bit of the correction. And then we will basically determine where the dollar may go moving forward. And I think this will finish developing in this next 1 or 2 days or so. And we can get a better understanding of the dollar. Okay, so that is my current view on at least dollar index. And you can see I don't really have any dollar pair on watch. Dollar yen is another, it's not really dollar nor the yen, right? So I think That's what I mean. Dollar pairs and yen pairs, I'm not too much going on. I'm just kind of waiting to see more development on them. All right, so let's continue here. Going in order now, so I'm looking at what you guys are saying. Pound Aussie buy. So someone mentioned Pound Aussie buy, and someone mentioned Aussie yen buy. And I'm looking at what you guys are saying. Kiwi yen sell. Euro yen long. So there's there seems to be a little bit of both bias from everyone. That's fine, right? Everybody is entitled to different biases. So certainly we can take a look at some of these pairs. Dollar CAD long, sure. See, Euro yen sell. Some people say Euro yen buy. That's fine, right? Let's all take a look at it together. Certainly, I'm gonna give my bias on them. Now, I'm basically explaining it from my view, right? So of course, always stick to your plan, right? I always talk about when something happened, when everyone has different biases on certain things, follow your plan, right? If you have a plan of a buy, then buy accordingly to your confirmation. If you have a bias of a sell, then follow your sell bias to lead to your entry. Okay. Pound yen sell, sure. All right, so let's take a look. When do I scan on pairs if you don't flag? I do it on the week. I do it beginning of the week, and then I will scan it maybe. I will scan it maybe every day during the rollover time. So if I don't have any pair flags, I'm only really clicking on the pairs that I am looking at. I'm not looking at. I'm not looking at pairs that I'm not flagged, right? So in this case, a bunch of you guys mentioning pairs that I don't have flag. I will look at it. I'll go over with you guys in the stream, but I will just remove the flag after if I don't see any development. Pound Swiss short. Euro CAD sell. So a lot of pair, guys. Lots of pair, right? I do want to point out this, guys, is that try to limit yourself in terms of how many pairs you're looking at, right? A lot of you guys are looking at a bunch of different pairs. Try to limit the pairs that you are going to focus on because you're going to enter less, right? Don't try to give yourself too many entries that you can enter. If you're going to look at all the yen pairs, focus on only one or two, as I always say, right? If you have a bias of the yen pairs going short, focus on one or two. If you have the pairs on dollar going long, I mean going strength as an example, then focus on one or two as well. All right, so that's starting out, okay? So I want to talk about Aussie dollar here because I did take an Aussie dollar position on Friday. I think I took a loss here. Update this everyone in the recap video. Did like the entry overall. We had the impulsive move breaking above this right shoulder here. To me, it was looking at a inverse head and shoulder. I like the mini double bottom. I like the price impulse to the upside, and I was basically waiting for a continuation price action, which it give me the continuation price action. Now just basically just tag me here and they just drop and they end up taking me off for a full loss. Now, but in terms of entry, I pretty much like these entries all the time, so never phased me to take a loss here. I'm perfectly fine taking a loss here. I'm happy to take a loss here if that makes sense, because everything fits my plan, right? Everything fits my plan exactly to enter this potential reversal, and it's about 6-1 hitting to the top. So certainly don't mind taking a loss here just because it didn't work out in my favor. Now it's all depends on what's going to happen here because we're getting a little bit of indecisive here. Someone was mentioning about, can this be a sell setup? Certainly possible, right? If you're looking for sell setup, this can certainly push down and then continue lower, right? But it's kind of giving you a little bit of consolidation here. So I think the best idea is, for me, who's still having a more of a bullish bias here, is just kind of waiting to see if this is going to continue higher and then giving you another potential correction to go higher. I think it's still likely for the price to eventually reach this high here if this overall inverse head and shoulder play out on the overall higher time frame, and it's similar like Euro Aussie, right? But I think Euro Aussie does look slightly better. So we'll take a look as well. But Aussie dollar, I just want to point out, I think there is still kind of opportunity. This is probably the only dollar pair other than dollar yen is on my watch. Every other dollar pairs is not really on my watch at all. I'm more favoring Aussie dollar over all the other dollar pairs. So I'll be closely watching this area to see if we have any bullish activity and potentially if there are any entry potential to look for buys. Now, let's continue. Looks like dollar cat, right? And I think dollar cat, someone mentioned long. So dollar cat long. I'm not sure what you see from your end. Personally, I'm a little bit more leaning towards a sell actually. Now, this is all kind of a period consolidation. To me, like there is something going on here, right? No structure, but I can kind of point out that this could be a head and shoulder pattern. If we zoom out here on the higher time frame, now you can see that this was the previous high and price basically hit this previous high and not much else developing here for a bullish up move rather than it's just kind of consolidated here. There's a few swing highs and a few swing lows. Now it's again depending on what's going to happen. It's a little bit slanted head and shoulders. Well, kind of looking at to see if this is actually going to push down and then continue lower. That might be a possibility to lead to a sell setup. Whereas I personally right now don't really see any long kind of potential or long kind of price action. Originally the long was looking pretty clean, right? From the descending structure, we pushed to the upside and then continue pushing upside. But now it's just becoming more of a bigger structure, and it's really not too much sign to me showing that this is going to be a long. I'm not sure what you see. You're welcome to share with me a screenshot that you're looking at, but for now, I'm looking more that this can be a bigger reversal to go to the downside after just hitting the previous kind of high as a double top here. And we're not really getting any bullish price action here in this consolidation. So I'm not really looking to long this. My bias here is more looking for a potential sell setup. Okay. Now we went over dollar yen, right? So is there any dollar pair you guys are looking at before let's move on to yen pairs? Short target, I'm not really looking to enter short by the way, but if I was to enter, if the price does break down like this, if it does form something here, I think the previous low, something like this or something like this, is quite near. So something in this area would be possible, but if this is going to be a bigger head and shoulder reversal, then I mean to the downside is still a possibility, right? It's may not go in one straight line, but it may push down, correct, and then push down, correct, and then push down, right? If this is going to be a bearish reversal kind of price action. We don't know at this point, so don't, of course, we don't jump in on this, something like this, but I'm just pointing out the potential that is developing here. And at this current moment, I really don't see a long potential. I'm more leaning towards a sell. Exactly, the risk reward is not there because this sell here looking like there is not enough room to a sell, right? If you put an entry here or whatever, depending on how big the stop loss is, you're not gonna fit too much risk reward in this low or whatever, right? So that's why if the risk reward's not there, then we don't need to enter, right? And unless you feel that your second, if you feel or if you think that the price would eventually hit this low, then certainly there is risk reward. But we don't know if the price is going to really impulse it all the way down to the low here, right? So, all right. So make sure you put the long or short. If you're looking at pound dollar, you can put long or short, so I can take a look. Euro dollar, someone mentioned sell. I think the sell has kind of already happened in my opinion. I think the sell has already happened from the top here. When we get to this low like this, I'm more leaning towards a buy rather than a sell now, just because we're judging by what's higher time frame doing now. I think we mentioned this last week. Now price already has this impulsive move. We're still in this larger structure, right? We're still in this larger structure, and the previous buy that I think a lot of us got end up breaking out of the structure, but no continuation to go higher, Instead, we start having this reversal. Now, what this tells you, I think last week I mentioned, we can just evolve the structure, and we're currently still consolidating, right? There's not much developing here. Whereas we're approaching to this low here, we're approaching to the bottom of the structure. So I'm not really leaning towards a sell. I'm more leaning towards a buy if it's just going to get more consolidated to the low here. And if we have if we have bullish reversal price action, something like this that we have seen in the past, then I'm looking forward to a bullish buy and then continuation to the upside. So at this point, because it has already dropped quite a bit, right? We have to see where the price is currently at. We have dropped about 220 pips or so, right? So it's quite a bit drop already, right? We have a rise to the upside, we have a drop to the downside. And what's going to happen here, right? This is definitely not something that I will short because there is simply not enough risk reward. If it was up here or up here, if you're looking for a sell, I think that is fine. But because we're approaching to a low point now and price is likely to consolidate here, doesn't mean that it cannot just break lower. It's just that because we're approaching to this low, likelihood of the price is just consolidation here. So I'm not really looking to sell this, rather than looking more to see if we're going to get a bullish reversal up move. That is kind of my bias on euro dollar, but again, no setup here yet, right? So just be patient to wait for a little bit more development here to confirm your bias of a potential buy. At least that's kind of how I see it. Yeah, definitely I do see potential euro dollar long, depending on how the price can react to this area. So okay, so let's continue here. Aussie dollar, I already went over that, right? Aussie dollar just went over that. I'm looking for buy. My bias is still a buy, but I don't really see an entry at this moment, so I'm gonna wait for development here a little bit more. Now went over dollar CAD, so let's continue now, okay? So I'm already half an hour in, I barely talk anything, so I apologize. Let's move on here. Okay, so let's talk about a few of the yen pairs. So I'm kind of looking at a few of you guys saying long or short on a bunch of these. Like I update everyone, I'm fairly neutral on the yen pairs, to be honest. I'm fairly neutral on the dollar pairs. I don't see too much developing. Now I'm looking at the charts chat. I'm looking at some of you guys are saying long, some of you guys are saying short. Again, I personally don't have too much bias on the yen pairs at the moment, but let's take a look a little bit more detail. Now I think I saw Aussie yen buy, right? Just double checking what you guys are saying. Yeah, Aussie yen buy. Yeah, I mean, Aussie seems a little bit strong. There's the current moment I'm looking at. I think Aussie is slightly strong. We originally had that bearish push down from the price, and I think most of the yen pairs, if I'm not mistaken, we all pretty much have this inverse head and shoulder, right? I think on pretty much all the yen pairs had some sort of reversal, right? If we look closely, I think there was a head and shoulder here, inverse head and shoulder. That's kind of what I meant. Inverse head and shoulder here, and inverse head and shoulder here, as well as Kiwi yen, if I believe. Yeah, inverse head and shoulder. So all of them had this kind of reversal. I think it was on Thursday or Friday. So it kind of shows you that the yen was losing strength a little bit. But what do we see now, right? What do we see now at this current price? To be fairly honest, I'm not really seeing too much. You can see this as a bigger head and shoulder. If this is going to develop into a bullish continuation price action, then it's just a bigger head and shoulder instead of the smaller one that we see as the head. But if we zoom out here a little bit more, I'm not really getting too much of a bias here either, right? You can see that the sell has happened. Is this going to be just a pullback here to go lower, or is this going to be a bullish up move? It's a little bit indecisive, right? Again, guys, if it's not something that is super clear right away and you don't think about the other direction, if you don't think about the other bias, don't try to enter positions, because I don't really see a clear bias here, except that I just point out the inverse head and shoulder, but that's about it, right? There is no kind of a previous low that it's rejecting off. There is no further kind of bullish price action. We do see this bullish push up, but what's going on here, I think it needs a little bit more development to be a continuation correction. If that develops, then yeah, sure, I do think a potential upside is possible, but that hasn't developed yet, right? So and then we're just kind of chilling at this previous high here. So I'm going to be cautious with these kind of pairs. And that's the same pretty much with all the yen pairs, guys. If I see cat yen here, some of you guys are saying long on cat yen, and I think some of you guys are saying cat yen sell, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I don't think it's too much developing here, guys. I think the previously when we look at the sell here, it was a little bit much clearer. After the price has reversed, right? After this push down from the price, and we reverse back up, are we going to get buy right away? Not necessarily. We might just do the same formation that we has formed, right? You see this previous sell that we also get end up reversing up, and this is the same thing, right? We have a sell here, we have a reversal up. Was there buy here right away to go higher? No, we pretty much develop into a bearish ascending structure and then reverse, correct, and go down. So same thing can happen here, right? We don't have any confluence yet to look for a buy right away. What it end up creating is the same structure that we just saw here, and then push down, and then correct, and then push down again. Right, so to me at this given moment, I really don't see much of a buy potential. I do more thinking that it's going to form into a more of a corrective structure now. Whether or not it's going to form into a bearish corrective structure or not, it's too early to tell. But I don't really think the buy here is valid, nor it makes sense. It already pushed up quite a bit, right? If you were looking for the buy, I mean the buy should have happened somewhere here. I think that would be a better buy setup, right? Because it shows you basically showing you a mini double bottom, price impulse up, first continuation correction, and then push up again. There was probably another buy setup here, but these are all bullish continuation correction. But now that we push up quite a bit already, it's not showing you the sign right away. So I'm more leaning towards that the price can basically fall in, develop into another continuation price action like this, right? So just watch out for what the price will do here. And I don't think buying here is good because you're also approaching to this high here as well, right? So there is no enough risk reward from my point of view. Now let's go to Euro Yen now. Looks like there's a bunch of you guys looking at Euro Yen, but there is a little bit conflicting biases here. Some of you guys are saying Euro Yen sell. Some of you guys are saying Euro Yen buy, right? So I'm looking at the both kind of both biases here. Now again, I'm not leaning towards anything at this moment, right? It's just I'm fairly neutral. Now you can argue that this is basically forming into a bearish kind of ascending structure, and if this push down and then correct, it can certainly push down a little bit longer or downside a little bit more. That is certainly a possibility, but just watch out for how sharp this bullish push up to the upside here. Is this enough of a reversal correction to push down the price? If that is the case, and if you feel that the higher time frame is still in your favor, the higher time frame bias here is still a potential sell, double top here, ascending structure, impulse down, and then it looks like there's an expanding correction to go lower. If that bias is still what you're looking at, then you're basically looking for sell setup on the lower time frame, then as long as you know the risk here, right? Because is this enough a correction to correct this move? Possibly, possibly not, right? So confirmation, probably wait for the price to break down here and then lower time frame continuation to sell if that's going to be your plan to enter. Now, whereas the buy setups here, again, it's similar like CAD yen where I think the buy has already kind of finished. There was that inverse head and shoulder pattern, and I think if there was going to be buy, it would be about once the price broke this inverse head and shoulder. I didn't really see an entry here at all. Now it's continued moving up, but now it's again into a consolidation, right? This doesn't look like a bullish continuation price action, and it looks more as a bearish reversal. Okay, so for me, I'm more leaning towards that, but again, I'm not looking to sell. Okay, it's just not, it doesn't fit my plan to enter something like this. But I think the bias here is more leaning towards a sell from my point of view. Continue down to pound yen. I think most of you guys are saying pound yen sell. Just let me double check here. Yeah, looks like you guys are mostly saying pound yen sell, right? Yeah, I do agree. Pound yen. We had this bullish push up. Remember last week? I think some of us also caught this sell down here, and then just never really had enough momentum here to push the price lower. And if we look at where the structure is, because after this sell push down to the low here, we really didn't get this continuation that we were looking to get, right? I was looking to see if we're going to break this low here and then continue to this low part, but it really just pushed down to the low here and then no continuation to go further. It basically had a sharp reversal up, right? So again, we have to manage our trade accordingly, right? So once we start seeing something bullish activity and once we start seeing that price isn't giving us that bearish continuation, then take profit and then observe, right? Because if this was to develop into a more of a bearish price action, then I can easily get back in and look for the sell again. But we did not get that, right? What we get is kind of a bullish up move now. So in terms of buy, I mean, this could be a potential buy setup, but again, I wouldn't buy here at all because we're basically just buying into this previous high here, which it's definitely not something that I will do. In terms of where my bias is now, well, most of you guys are saying sell for pound yen, right? But I'm not really seeing the sell right away. What I could imagine what the price is doing now, we're just making a larger structure. So this is the current larger structure that the price is at. We are approaching to this high here. I would imagine that if price can approach this high correctively and then giving you signs of bearish reversal, then that is something that we could look forward to. But at this given moment, I really don't see any setups or anything at the moment. I think it's better to wait for this development here and then look for the sell. And I do agree we are in this larger head and shoulder. I think a lot of us are looking at this as a larger head and shoulder. And I do agree with that as well. It's just that this expanding structure continue to expand, right? It's just that the correction isn't finished, guys. Remember we talk about the correction can go out indefinitely for as long as it wants. So if it doesn't finish correcting, then every time when the price does reach the top here, if there is bearish reversals, then looking for the sell here is always a good risk reward, always a good perspective aligned with your overall higher time frame bias. So looking for the sell here, if it develops into a bearish price action, is definitely valid in my book. Now, last one I'll talk about is Kiwi Yen here. I think Kiwi Yen, you guys are saying Kiwi Yen sell, Kiwi Yen sell. Yeah, it looks like something is developing here, right? Kiwi Yen sell. Now, you can see this as both ways. I kind of had the structure draw out like this a little bit more leaning towards a bearish kind of point of view. Now, it really depends on what's going to happen here. At least we're getting a little bit of consolidation here, which kind of leads you to think that after this inverse head and shoulder, price push to the upside, and then looks like this was supposed to be a continuation price action, but it did not happen. Instead, we had a bearish reversal. And it looks like this is a bearish continuation kind of price action. Now, if you ask me, would I sell here? No, I wouldn't be selling here. I would prefer the prices at the top here. I think selling here would be more ideal to the downside rather than kind of halfway here. This more leaning towards that this can just kind of push down from the price and potentially push up, creating a bigger structure. And then the sell happens, right? So I'm not really looking to the sell here. But if you ask me what my bias is overall, judging by what's going on, I would more leaning towards the sell setup, leaning towards more of a bearish kind of price action. But it all depends on what's going to happen here. We do also see that inverse head and shoulder across the yen pair. And will this be a larger inverse head and shoulder as well? Again, this is conflicting data, right? It's not something that is right away stick to your face and scream bearish or bullish, right? It's not something like that. Whereas a couple other pairs that we went over, to me, this screams bearish to me, right? There is really not much bullish thing that can change my bias at this given moment, whereas a lot of these yen pairs, it's a little bit contradicting. So as I always say, guys, if it's contradicting, if you cannot identify the bearish or bullish view right away, then don't enter, right? But if you do, from your perspective, from your plan, then enter accordingly. Okay, this is why I encourage everyone to do your own analysis, do your own forecast, right? Because there's trades that I won't enter that works out for you guys, or there's trades that you enter that didn't work out for me, vice versa, right? So follow your plan, right? Because everyone trades differently, everyone spot opportunity differently as well. All right, so I think I went over all the yen pairs that you guys asked me for. Again, I'm fairly neutral, right? That's kind of why I point out different scenarios, for you guys, but I'm really not looking to enter any of these until further development. The only one that is favorable for me is dollar yen. Dollar yen is pretty much the only one that I will be looking at if we can get a potential sell set up here in the next few hours or maybe a day or two. We'll see how that goes. But if this does create a head and shoulder and then the right shoulder here, I think that it's perfect to look for a sell. Okay, so US 500, yeah, I'm gonna go over all that after I finish Forex, guys, but moving as fast as I can, just a few more pairs to go over. Kiwi CAD, I don't know what RRE means to be honest, but I will look at Kiwi CAD. Pound Kiwi for sure, yeah, I will talk about Pound Kiwi. Aussie dollar went over that right in the beginning, not much, right? Just waiting to see if we're gonna get a bullish confirmation yet, right? If we can get bullish push up here and then followed by correction. I still reasonably like Aussie dollar's position or Aussie dollar price action. The only dollar pairs you can see on my watch list that is looking actually pretty clean. All right, let's continue here, guys. If there's not much question, compare CAD yen and dollar yen. Both of them is at the top of structure. Before that move, it moved bullish quite impulsively. It's fine moving bullish quite impulsively. I don't see CAD yen structure. I don't know what you're seeing from CAD yen, but maybe you're looking at it from this way or this way. I'm not sure. This is certainly a possibility. I don't think I update this one, but I'll show you. Like this is certainly a possibility where the price is doing now, right? We're just making a bigger structure, but this still can be a larger head and shoulder as well. But if there is no bearish development, right? If there is no bearish development here, then definitely we're not looking to sell right away. We'll have to wait for a little bit more bearish price action to develop, right? We're not just going to enter here because there is some high test candles, right? Or something low test candle, whatever, high test candle or whatever. We're going to see if there's going to be some sort of structure that develop here, right? If it does develop into a more of a bearish reversal price action, then the higher time frame overall can still be this right shoulder here. It really doesn't matter how this bullish push up. If the bullish impulse is not followed by bullish continuation, then it really doesn't matter. Okay, I think this is one of the thing that I saw a lot of traders do, and this is a prime example of looking at this previous two sells that we get. So imagine the bearish move down from the price, right? You have a bearish move down, clear continuation, clear push down. Was there a continuation here? No, right? So if there's no continuation here, it doesn't matter how strong this bearish push down is, it's quickly reversed up by a bullish impulse, right? It's very much same idea here. A bearish push down here, there is really no bearish continuation. Instead, we had a bullish reversal. So same idea, if all you just need to do is inverse the chart, right? When you see this same sell setup down, if it's not followed by bearish continuation, then a reversal is just as likely as any other situation. Okay, so again, this is just comes from backtesting and experience, right? People often get a little bit confused or scared when you see something like this. Again, how many times we have seen something like this where it doesn't continue, right? You have a strong push down, correct, and strong push down. no continuation here. It's just a straight up reversal, right? Same idea here, right? Because all of this is telling us that we potentially is in a larger structure with a few swing highs and few swing lows. So every time when price is at the low point, it reverses up just because it's still correcting in a larger structure. Let's continue here, guys. Euro CAD. Let's take a look at Euro CAD sell. I think some of you guys caught Euro CAD sell. I was looking at the Telegram here. Maybe you guys got in on the entry here. So good job on your part. I personally wasn't really looking at Euro CAD. I don't really see a structure here, but some of you guys caught the sell here. Maybe you see it from this point of view or something like that. So good job if you caught this sell. If you're in the sell here, I think just watch out for what the price will do at this low, because this is still kind of a low that the price may still react to. And we're breaking all these previous low, which is a good thing. All we have to do now is just kind of break out of this low here and continue if that's something that you're holding on to already. But I did see the sell setup here. I think some of you guys caught this sell. So good job on your part to hold on to it. And all you have to do now is, like I said, just looking at this part here, is it going to continue down to the previous kind of the bottom here? And then if that's going to be, then of course, move your stop loss to break even or maybe in profit, whatever works for you. And just judging to see if we're going to get pushed down and then continue lower. All right. So that is EuroCAD. I did see that message, my friend. You mentioned about you're at a 6% drawdown at some prop firms. What advice can I give you? Well, if you feel like you're not consistent yet, stop trading that prop firm account, right? Because if you're at 6%, all you're doing, if you're at a 6% drawdown, then all you think about is trying to make that back, and you're gonna try to either open larger position or more position. You're gonna end up losing more than what is required of you, and you will lose that prop firm account. And by all means, you probably pass some sort of a test or whatever to get to that prop firm, so you likely have to redo that again. Okay, so Euro Swiss. Someone asked me about Euro Swiss, and I do kind of look at this from this point of perspective, is that after we have the price breaking up to the upside, really don't have any continuation. Instead, it almost looked like a reversal. So like kind of ascending structure, we had an impulse pushing down. This looks like a continuation correction to sell to the low here. This is okay, and this almost looks like a head and shoulder as well. Now it all depends on, is this right shoulder or this correction, sorry, is it going to finish or is it going to correct a little bit more? I think there's reasonable to sell down to the low here, because that every time when we hit the top here, price really didn't continue bullishly push up. Instead, it kind of just hit the top here and then looks like it was going to reverse. It's the same idea a couple of times here when price reached the high, right? It doesn't really break up, instead it break down. So certainly a possibility to break down here again. So that's Euro Swiss. Euro Kiwi I want to talk about. Euro Kiwi was on my watch list, right, for the week ahead. I think nothing changes from what I see most of the time, right? I talk about this basically every time when we look at from how far the impulse has already pushed down here, all the way from this top correction here, right? We're basically just forming into a larger correction here, right? That's all we're doing, is that we're just forming into a larger continuation and potentially continue this bearish trend to the downside. So I like how we impulsively break to the downside, and this consolidation, again, we've been consolidating here for quite a bit, right? A few weeks now. But to me, is as long as it continues to correct and as long as it doesn't just kind of reverse up here and then continue, I like what I'm seeing here. I like how we are basically going to have a little bit of a correction after breakout, but it's just a larger scale of it, and then looking to the downside to the low, right? So again, don't get trapped in the consolidation phase if it hasn't finished, right? Only when the price is, you know, pushing to the top, if there's bearish kind of reversal, then I think entering from the top is fine. But while it's in the corrections, anytime you enter while it's in the middle or at the bottom, a lot of time it just reverse back up, right? So don't get trapped in the consolidation. only look for confirmation of a correction if that fits your plan to enter. If not, just wait for a breakout on the price there and then wait for a smaller correction. I think that's fine as well. So let's continue here. Looks like there's Pound Aussie. I think Pound Aussie, you guys are saying, someone mentioned Pound Aussie buy, right? If I'm looking correctly. Pound Aussie. Pound Aussie, long on Pound Aussie. I would say Pound Aussie is similar like Euro Aussie that we went over. I think Euro Aussie has a better price action of a bearish point of view. Personally, I'm not leaning towards a buy on Pound Aussie, to be honest. I'm more leaning towards a sell, but I'm not like entering the sell here. I think more is just from my perspective is that this almost looked like very, very corrective, right? We see this bearish push down from the top here, right? Bearish push down, correct here, and then push down again. We had a really kind of ascending like correction, correcting the price up. And I really don't see the bullish price action here. I really don't see a bullish momentum, whereas I see this as almost a reversal. And then I see this as a bearish push down from the price. If this correction completes and then push down to the low here, then I do think this is likely to come down to the previous low. Right, so now it doesn't have the same same head and shoulder like Euro Aussie, but I think the bearish bias here is more I'm leaning towards that here. Okay. Now let's move on a little bit here, guys. I'm a little bit slower behind, so I apologize here. Pound Swiss. I'm hoping to get through all the Forex pair by 15 o'clock GMT, and then we can move on to other market. Pound Swiss sell. I think the sell has happened, right? I think last week a bunch of you guys caught the sell from the top here. I remember a bunch of you guys post your sell here, and then you're looking for a sell to continue, but it didn't really continue too much. I had a pullback. So, but I think quite a bit of you guys got some percentage here, so good job on your part. Inverse head and shoulder push up, and then what's going on here? Well, potentially we can see a larger structure like this, right? It all depends on what you see from this perspective is that we see a double top here, you see a ascending like structure, and then basically you had a bearish push down followed by potential bearish correction. If this is going to break out here and then continue, then certainly there is possibility to go lower. If this fits your plan, if this is enough of a setup that fits your plan, then I think that's fine. We look at the higher time frame here. We're still in this consolidation though, right? You can tell that the price has been in this kind of a sideways consolidation for quite some time. So as long as you understand this move down may or may not break the low, or may not even hit this low before it reverses back again, because that's the nature of what we have been seeing. It's just a long sideways consolidation. Now let's go through Pound Kiwi now, because Pound Kiwi is on my watch list. Very similar like Euro Kiwi, right? I'm still looking for a possible sell from Pound Kiwi. I think it's pretty clean. The overall price impulse down. We have that parallel channel here. We have that double top here in the making. Impulse down out of that parallel channel. So basically continuation price action here. I think it's looking very, very clean. All that's left now is kind of what the price will do at this top, right? Now we're just potentially hitting a third top now, right? Remember, price just needs few swing highs and few swing low, but the more the better, right? So if we do get a push up to the top here, and if we get a correctively push up to the top and a bearish reversal down, I think this is definitely the entry that I will consider. I will consider a kind of a reversal entry that I talk about, where price hasn't finished correcting yet. And then, so obviously entering something like this is going to be a little bit more risk. You can either wait for a breakout entry, you set the entry order like this, but it's probably going to be a very wide stop loss. Or you can wait for a correction after breakout, another entry that I talk about, I think that is also fine as well. Either or, I think the overall higher time frame here is telling me it's pretty bearish. So it's all depending on when this correction will finish. And looking at Euro Kiwi, it's basically same idea, right? We've been consolidating in this correction for a while, and Pound Kiwi, it is basically exactly the same thing that we're consolidating here as well, right? So looking for a potential sell. Yeah, just went over Pound Kiwi. Aussie CAD. Buy bias for Aussie CAD. Yeah, I mean, if I think you say descending channel here, yeah, I guess, you know, it looks like that. And we pretty much not breaking this low here. This is the previous low price is basically kind of just consolidating in. But this part here, if we go lower time, it's quite sharp moving to the low. I would probably prefer if more of a little sideways, but it's moving a little bit more steep. But sometimes that still can lead to bullish correction. Don't get me wrong. I'm just kind of looking at it from my usual perspective. Now, it really depends on how this price will develop, right? It's kind of like what you're saying. Wait for a breakout to the upside and then wait for continuation. That is exactly how I will project something like this. So good job on your part to basically type all that out, Damien. That's very clean kind of analysis. Exactly kind of what I will say. So you pretty much say all the things you want me to say already. So very good job. Yeah, I think the bias here, if you're looking for a buy bias, is waiting for the price to break out and then continuation to go, right? That is the confirmation we need in entries. Remember, we can make forecasting, we can make our analysis. You should always have a confirmation before you enter. We're not just going to enter here for no reason. If you want to have confirmation, the confirmation should be first, impulsive break, second, bullish continuation price action, third, set the entry order. So if price doesn't tag you in, it doesn't tag you in, right? So a few confirmation before you are tagging, that will protect your trade overall. Aussie Swiss is on my watch list, right? Similar like Euro Aussie. I'm basically looking at this. It's still the same structure. We've just been correcting here for quite a longer time. But it is a inverse head and shoulder, whereas Euro Aussie is a regular head and shoulder. So very similar idea here. I'm still kind of looking at this to see if we're actually going to get a impulse break, right? We're still looking at this, that this is still in a consolidation. So, you know, don't enter here or anything like that. Wait for price to break out, and then continuation to the upside will be a better entry. If it doesn't break out, if it doesn't have continuation, then expect this to continue correct, right? Only difference to change my bias is just a sharp down here and then continuation low. Then it basically voids what I'm saying here. But for now, still looking at this the same way, right? Still, if we just zoom out here, what's going on, right? Price to me is still quite bullish, right? After the COVID drop, reversal impulse, continuation, impulsive move to the upside. This can just be a consolidation, a consolidation phase, and now we're finally giving a little bit more bullish price action, right? Push to the downside, expanding structure here as a reversal, bullish impulse up, bullish continuation. Can easily expect another bullish up from the price. That's Aussie Swiss. We went over Aussie Kiwi already, right? Aussie Kiwi for me is still kind of waiting to see if we can get a clean impulsive move to the upside, and then basically waiting for continuation. I think that's totally fine. Looking for a healthy risk reward to the top. Went over this in the beginning. Last one I want to go over is CAD Swiss. Actually, I'll go over Aussie Kiwi a little bit longer. Sorry, I kind of went over that quickly here. We talk about the higher time frame, right? Higher time frame potential double bottom. We have a descending structure to that double bottom here. Getting a little bit bullish activity here if we go down to the lower time frame. Smaller descending channel, and basically you're waiting for price to impulse out, right? And I was kind of looking to see if there's going to be a correction here. Now, it did give you a correction, and I mentioned in the beginning of the stream is that this doesn't really fit my plan, that the entry will be too wide. But if we just continue break up and followed by correction here, this is something that I will definitely consider for a buy move up to the top. I think there's enough risk reward once again for this potential buy move, and I'll be waiting for this buy setup to form if that gives me the opportunity. So looking at Cat Swiss now, I'm looking at Cat Swiss. I didn't really see Cat Swiss sell or short, unless I missed it. Cat Swiss short. I mean, I'm really not digging. I'm really not digging what's going on here. Like I'm trying to draw some structure out here, but I really do not see what's going on here personally. I think it's a lot of indecisive sideways kind of action where I don't really like to trade or get involved. I would be much better if we see something like this, right? Impulsive move, correction, and impulsive move. That is clear price action. Whereas this is not really clean. There's an impulse up. Other than that, there is nothing going on here, right? So I'm not really favoring what I'm seeing here. I'm not seeing a buy or sell. I think there is just better pairs out there to analyze or to risk our money on. In this case, I don't see any setups here. Last one to go over is Kiwi Cat. Hey, you're welcome, Damien. Nice to see you. Hope to see you next time, buddy. Kiwi Cat short. Yeah, I think most of you guys are saying Kiwi Cat short. I think it's fine. I think this is something that I'm kind of looking at. If we get a continuation kind of price action here, it's possible to sell to the low. I think everyone agree we do see the larger head and shoulder on the higher time frame. Clear head and shoulder, clear double top. Looks like that we can get a possible reversal to the downside. Now, lower time frame here, we talk about the previous kind of a bearish price action all the way from the top here. Push down, and then we have a larger kind of structure. Now this ascending structure pushing the price up, and I failed to find any sell setup here. Again, I'm not sure if you guys caught the sell. I think it was on Wednesday when we hit the outlook, and someone pointed out, is this going to be a sell setup? To me, I was more leaning towards like a breakdown followed by, instead of this kind of a sideways consolidation. But in this case, if he entered here, or if you enter here, push down, and then as long as you didn't get tagged out here, then it looks like it's pushing down. So if you're in the trade, then obviously move your stop loss to break even now to here, and then just monitor to see what the price will do. I think developing here into a correction to sell is valid, as long as you can get enough risk reward here to the low. And if that completes this larger correction, then certainly downside more is possible. Okay, so kind of waiting to see what will happen here. All right, so that is Kiwi Cat, everyone. So I think that is all the pairs that was mentioned to me in the chat, unless I miss anything that you guys want to quickly bring up. Other than that, I am going to jump into other market now. So double check if you missed me saying any of the pair. You're welcome to quickly let me know, and I can quickly take a look before we jump into the other market. It's been about an hour already, so I'm a little bit behind schedule, but I will try to speed up a little bit more. Alright, so not too much then. Let's continue here, guys. No problem. Thank you. Let's continue here to commodities if there's not much. I don't have too much on commodities. I know everyone will ask me about gold. I'm honestly not seeing too much on gold, right? Like I've been talking about gold for the last 2 weeks. I know a lot of you guys caught the sell here down, and hopefully you guys either take profit or maybe still holding it. I'm not sure, but likelihood to see is a larger structure, right? Because we have impulse, correction, impulse, and this doesn't look like something that will continue right away. Only except that this can be some sort of a continuation to go lower. That is the immediate possibility, and I do agree that is a possibility. And if you see this as a head and shoulder as well as a continuation, sure. that's first thing that I think a lot of you guys are probably looking at is if this right shoulder will be the one that can continue. I think the best way to confirm that is a breakdown and then continuation. I think that's going to confirm that. Whereas you could still possibly get a larger structure here, right? Just basically all these impulses down, price naturally needs to correct, so it might correct a little bit deeper here and then still continue to the downside. Okay, so immediately wise, if this is something that you're looking at, if this fits your plan and you understand the risk, then I think entering here is okay, or you want to wait for a breakout and then continuation. Either or, it's going to be risky, right? Because it has already pushed down quite a bit, and if you didn't get it on from the top here, or maybe from the top here, then entering here because of it, the not much risk where you're already halfway through where you are right now currently, right? Like you're halfway through here. You're basically anticipating another halfway down, but whether or not it hits it directly or just kind of correctly move down, we don't know that, okay? I don't see too much on silver. Silver is kind of chilling at the bottom here. This is kind of the area where I will be possibly looking for bullish activity rather than bearish now. We had all this bearish push down, right? And then correct and push down again. As long as we're still within this kind of the structure, we're at the bottom here. You could call this as a double or triple bottom. As long as we're still here, as long as we didn't just like impulsively break to the downside and continue, then to me, on a higher time frame perspective, from a higher time frame view, as long as we're in this structure, we don't break this previous low, then I'm expecting this up move in the future. But whether or not that's ready or how long it's going to take, it's obviously something that I cannot control. But the bullish view here from the bullish higher time frame perspective to me is a possibility. If this push down here, but just pushing down to the low, if there's no continuation, then the structure still stands, right? The bullish structure still stands even if it breaks some trend line. Remember, trend line is not some support resistance the way how we use it, right? We're just framing the structure, we're connecting the highs and low to identify there's a structure. Whereas there's people who usually think once you break the support trend line, it's going to go down low. Not necessarily here, okay? Other than that, I don't have too much oil or anything like that. I don't see too much in oil. I don't have too much oil. That's not what I meant. I don't see too much in oil. I remember last week someone asked me about it, and I think my bias at the time was fairly neutral. I said if this was going to be a ascending channel and break down and continue, then it will be more of a bearish view. Whereas the bullish view is seeing this as a bullish continuation structure for this move. And it looks like it is pushing up. So again, whoever is looking for bullish view, if you caught this, good job on your part. I think you just have to worry about this previous high here, where this is the previous high where price is basically stalling on. Okay, so just watch out in this area. Any question here on commodities, guys? Before we jump into the indices really quick, very quick overview here. I honestly don't see too much else on other commodities. Now, natural gas can be something here, and we're really paying attention to what will happen here on natural gas, right? Talk about this many times, is that we're breaking out now. This is finally, after literally 11, 12 years, we're finally seeing some really strong bullish view. I think the logical choice here is if we're going to consolidate here, this is definitely a buy. And it really depends on what the lower time frame is doing. You can see it had a sharp breakdown and then a push up. I would really want to see a consolidation here. If it does, perfect, right? We'll be looking for a buy here. There's no question about it, because you can clearly see a bearish move down from here. It takes 12 years to correct in this kind of a sideways descending or parallel channel, however you call it, but you can clearly see this is a correction, no doubt about it, right? Double bottom here, price impulsively break all of this kind of a structure here. So continuation price action here will lead to the next impulsive move, right? Very clean, right? This is one of the cleanest one I have seen in across the board here. It's just that waiting for confirmation here is super important. Entering at the top here, where the price can easily just make another move down here, because people get FOMO, fear of missing out. You're trying to enter here because you think this is going to like take off without you. just to tag you in here and then push down here, tag you out, and then consolidate a little bit bigger, and then push the upside afterwards. Okay, so just be careful, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna go into crypto after, okay? Just give me a break here. I'm almost there, so appreciate your patience. So that's commodity, guys. Let's go to indices here, and then we'll go back. We'll go wrap it up with crypto. Nasdaq here. So I'm looking at Nasdaq here. Remember last week I did enter the sell here for a 2-to-1, quick 2-to-1 risk reward here, and got out of the position. Price basically formed a larger kind of structure here, right? But it's a little bit more steep. It's not something that we're used to, right? Not something that we're used to, something like this where we go down. It looks like it's a little bit more steep climbing up, which when every time I see a steeper kind of correction, I need to be extra careful, because the steeper correction usually more thinning, the bullish move is in the lower time frame and it's slowly climbing up, right? It can slowly just break out of that correction and continue all the way to the top here. Now I'm fairly neutral. I'm fairly not into selling here. You guys, as you guys know, I'm only looking to sell for most of the indices. I'm not really seeing the sell setup here. It really depends on what's going on here. I think there's a lot of movement down here, and this could be easily an inverse head and shoulder as well. So I think the plan here is wait for a little bit of consolidation here, and then look to see if that's going to give us an entry down here. Now I do like how we had the bearish impulse, right? This is all clean from a higher time frame perspective. We did see the higher time frame push down. We did see price hitting this previous low here, and we did see that structure here as well. We're about still halfway through the bottom here, so I think there is still quite a bit of room. It all depends on if we can find an entry that fits our plan to enter. And as of now, I don't see that. Okay, I'd rather wait for a little bit more developing here. Okay. And same thing with pretty much every other US indices here. I'll quickly go over them as well. I think S&P 500 is basically similar, right? We have that bearish push down for the price, and we just have that steeper pullback as well, right? We break out of the structure here, but there is just no continuation right away, and that's always a sign from the market, is that we completed the structure, we had the impulse break as what we want to see, but there is no continuation, right? So we cannot get married to analysis just thinking that, oh, we break the trend line, so we break some support trend line, so this has to go down. Well, it did go down, but it pulls back just as deep, right? It forms bigger correction just as deep. So here it's the same thing. I think my approach is the same. Whether or not it's going to consolidate here a little bit longer, or it's going to break down and then consolidate, that's going to be a confirmation for the price. US indices, I'm sorry, US 30, so Dow Jones. Dow Jones, same idea here, right? We break the previous low, right? We break this previous low, as I talk about. That is really important. But we break it, and then again, there's no continuation. That's the inevitable part, is that we didn't get that confirmation to keep going. Instead, it is a sharp reversal, right? So if you ask me, am I looking for a sell here? No, not at all, because I didn't really like this bearish push down. Is quickly reversed up by bullish move, and if there's bullish kind of a price action here, then certainly this can continue higher, right? So I'm not looking to buy or sell here. Okay. Have a good day, my friend. Good job, guys. So that is all the indices, guys. Any question here on the indices? Again, I'm not looking to buy. Okay, I'll be this clear, is that every time when this kind of move happens, I'm sure there's a lot of people buying them, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Follow your plan, but I'm more leaning always looking for the sell, because where we are in terms of higher time frame and lower time frame, I'm always looking for sell setup, because we're at the all-time high, right? We're at the all-time high here. Looking for buys is way lower. That if you're buying, you should be buying at the lower point. Instead of buying at the top here, okay? I'm gonna go over BTC now. If you stay with me, I'm gonna go over Bitcoin now. So anyways, like I said, the indices, I'm not looking for buys, right? Because the price is already at the all-time high. We're forming bearish kind of price action structures. So I'm not looking forward to these short-term buy if there is. I'm only looking forward to the long-term short on most of these indices, okay? Yeah, basically, right? The stock market is in a clear bubble. At this point, the question is not if we're in a bubble or when it's going to burst. Exactly, right? Just waiting, right? It's just being patient, right? We may not get coronavirus crash because this was certainly a global event where a lot of uncertainty and things like that. It may not crash like this. It may correct to go down, right? It may not drop like this, but we're seeing this similar price action here, right? No doubt about it. So okay, so that's continue here, guys. If there's no other question here on indices, I'm gonna go to crypto, and then I will leave some time for Q&A. Now, I don't have too much on crypto. I think I update everyone. There's a few pairs that I was looking at for crypto. I don't see too much else on them, but I will go over some of them because most of them doesn't look like they're in a bullish point of view, at least from my perspective. A lot of these crypto are more looking bearish after that. I think it was last Tuesday or previous Tuesday, 2 Tuesdays ago, right? We had this bearish kind of drop from the price here, right? So let's take a look here. Let's take a look at what I see on Bitcoin and a couple other ones that I point out in my update. Yeah, I'm fairly neutral as well on Bitcoin. There is looking like there is like lower time frame kind of push down, correct. But if you look at higher time frame, this is still a possibility, right? You can see this as an impulse up. This can be a correction to go higher. So what happens when we have conflicting bias, right? Higher time frame looks like a original crypto market drop, and we had a reversal. We pushed to the upside. Looks like this is still could be a bullish kind of flag to continue. That is looking like a higher time frame bias. Whereas lower time frame looks like there is more of a bearish kind of point of view. So I'm fairly neutral actually, right? If you're looking for bearish point of view, like this correction probably needs to develop a little bit more to push down and then correct to go lower. Whereas the bullish point of view, I'm more thinking that this can correct here in a little bit longer and then break out and then continuation upside. To me, I'm more favoring the bullish point of view because I like how we had the reversal. I think this is the prime reason why I see that way. After the initial crypto drop, we reversed from this and pushed upwards, and there was some news from that, but doesn't really matter, right? Because it's just putting itself into a more of a corrected price action, and I still believe an upside here followed by a lower time frame is going to lead us another bullish up move. Okay, so but in terms of entry, I'm not looking to sell here or buy here at this given moment. I would prefer to wait for price to consolidate here and then break up here would be a better entry for me to consider. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. I won't go over a few that I point out. I think AAVE was something I was looking at. I like how we have a bullish push off on the price here, and then there's a larger consolidation here in the making. If this is going to be a reversal correction, I need to see the price push up first and then continuation after to lead to this bullish up move. These are one of the ones that are looking at least a little bit more bullish, right? Uni, same idea. We had this push up and we had a kind of a bullish correction, I think during the weekend we had a little bit bullish activity here. So it depends on if we are still going to get further bullish upside by bullish continuation. I think that would be a better entry or a better choice to look for upside on Uni here. And Solana is probably my favorite one that I'm looking at. I think Solana is probably one of the more bullish price action here out there for crypto, and we can clearly see if I just make this log here, we've been pushing up quite a bit, right? If you just look at the overall trend here, is no doubt that we're in a bullish kind of price action. All it depends on is can we get possible entries here. If we look closely, this bullish push upside, this correction continue to develop, right? It looks like we're breaking on that correction here, which is a good sign. And again, lower time frame continuation here would be ideal. I think this is the first one I see. I kind of missed this one. I think this is during some time. I just missed this entry. But if another correction form here or a bigger consolidation form here, I would certainly look for a possible entry. I think Solana has a lot of a lot of potential. And I like the overall price that I'm seeing here for a bullish up move, even just to the all-time high here. I think there's definitely enough risk reward to justify entry here to the top. Alright, so that is Solana. Any question with any crypto, guys? Any crypto you would like me to quickly look at? Because I really don't see too much else on most of the crypto. I think most of the crypto is in some sort of formation like this, right? Some sort of bearish formation, right? So we had that crypto drop on Tuesday ago. I thought this could be potential reversal correction, but it kind of just continued pushing the price down. You can see across the crypto board, we are seeing the similar kind of bearish kind of price. So I'm not really looking to buy any of them, and as you guys know, I don't sell crypto, so these are just looking more bearish, and bearish. I don't really see bullish activity in any of these, so like this continue looking like it's forming more bearish price. So if that's the case, I don't try to jump in on any of these. I'm just happy to kind of wait for the sideline here and develop a little bit further, right? See, most of them are basically similar price action across the board, right? So ICP, yeah, I don't really see a bullish point of view here. I think that this is a bearish drop here on Tuesday, and I fail to see what's going on here. I don't think there's any bullish activity. The only acceptance is probably if this is going to be a structure here, and if this actually breaks up here and followed by correction to get involved into a potential buy. Other than that, I'm looking at this as still in a consolidation phase, and I'm not interested in the buy or sell. Yeah, OMG. I think there could be something here, but it's again this consolidation needs to finish, right? There is some bullish upside, and this consolidation is quite wide. So I think the better choice here is you have to wait for price to at least consolidate here and break the high, and then continuation. Like that's going to be a better entry than at this current more and more. It's just consolidation, right? This consolidation can go on indefinitely, so you don't want to get trapped here. It might even just start consolidating here and then drop down, right? So don't get trapped here. I do agree there is some bullish push out, but wait for the bullish breakout and then continuation is just a better entry, safer entry as well. FTM. This does look pretty bullish here, right? It's kind of remind me of Solana there, but looking at what's going on here, very strong bullish push up, right? Some correction here. Are we getting a larger correction? It looks like so, right? This looks like a kind of a bullish flag, but bullish kind of channel, either or. this is looking like a continuation price action. So I think the better choice is impulsively up, right? Wait for the first continuation correction that you're going to see. As long as that confirms this bullish up move, then I think it's possible to look for a buy here. It does look pretty clean for a potential upside here. I do like the up move here as well. So I don't have this option to trade this, but if you do, or if you have option to buy, I think that's fine. But again, wait for the confirmation impulse up, right? Because you can see it has tried to break out there, and then just touching the trend line can easily push down the price, right? So just wait for the first impulse break followed by correction would be much better. Keva, yeah. So not seeing too much here for me personally. I see more of a bearish kind of price action, just like what I have pointed out in across the crypto. After that last Tuesday, it kind of formed a correction here and pushed down, and then potentially this is pushing up, but it's too early to tell if this is going to be the one that's going to continue upwards. So I think it's best to monitor what's going on here. This can still lead to a little bit more corrective kind of price action before the up move. So we don't want to get trapped here until we see a clear bullish kind of reversal price action here. Alright, so I think that's all the crypto, guys. But let's do a Q&A here. If we're going to do a Q&A, we're going to do a quick Q&A, guys, if you guys don't mind. We're going to talk about any question you guys have. I think Euro Aussie is one of the pair. Make sure you put long or short on whatever pair you want me to take a look, so that would be a better discussion. I'm assuming a lot of you guys are looking at Euro Aussie sell. So I think there was a sell setup here that some of you guys caught or are currently in. So my bias here is looking for sell, right? Let me just remove these. My bias here is looking for sell for sure. I did take 2 trades from last week, right? Took one for break even, one for a 1% loss. Higher time frame wise, it's just looking clean for a potential head and shoulder to reverse. I think there's still quite a bit of room to the downside, and basically what's happening here is a lot of us probably caught the sell or sell here that may or may not work out for you, but it's just creating a head and shoulder on its own. If you guys look at it, head and shoulder here, and then this right shoulder is also another head and shoulder, right? It's not clean, it's not perfect like what you would normally learn, but you have to learn to check and see what's going on, right? It is showing you the same feature and specification of a head and shoulder. Right? We know head and shoulder are reversal. We have that higher time frame head and shoulder. We have the lower time frame head and shoulder, and we have a smaller head and shoulder as well. All of them is telling you a reversal price action, right? We know that the head and shoulder is going to be bearish kind of price action, and it's showing you all that, right? So whether or not you caught an entry here, I think there's an entry here, right? If not, as long as that fits your plan to enter, that's fine. Alternatively, if this just continue dropping this previous low, I think it's good if you look for another continuation down to sell, or for any reason this pulls back here to form a bigger consolidation, then look for the sell here is also fine. As long as you agree with the overall higher time frame bias is more looking favoring for a sell. Okay, so that's Euro Aussie. Swiss yen sell. To be honest, I don't really see any sell here. I think this is just a straight up bullish reversal price action. It's likelihood to correct here and go further. That's kind of what I see here. Now, because of how the previous move has pushed, I remember Last week I was able to caught this sell down here, and I mentioned this is the sell where this area is where we're gonna look at if we're going to get continuation to go lower. Instead, we didn't really get continuation, right? We basically just get bullish reversal, right? I went over this in my recap video. Went over why I exited trade, why I secure profit and move on. And basically, it's showing you straight up bullish kind of price action. I don't really see any bearish point of view at this point. And what I think the likelihood of what's going to happen here is we are just creating a larger structure once again. Right, so price hit this previous low here, just didn't continue, and bearish continuation. This likelihood is push up to the high here, and then if there's bearish reversal, I think selling here would be much better than selling somewhere here halfway in the middle where there is no confluence or no sell entries at the moment. Waiting for the price to push up all the way high here, still within the structure, of course, and then bearish point of view, I think that's going to be a better entry to sell. Okay, so that's Swiss yen. What about dollar? Well, what about dollar, right? Which dollar are you talking about? Which pair are you talking about, long or short? Please actually give us a little bit of description or a perspective from your end. That would be a better discussion. How I would draw the trend line. I made this video about trend lines. If you're interested to watch, it's in my price action. This latest video, you can watch this. How to effectively use trend lines to identify price action structures in the matter. You can watch this video and you can learn all about how I use trend lines in my analysis. But you're always connecting the highs and lows, right? Forget about the wick or anything. You're just connecting the highs and lows. That's all you need to do, right? Don't so many variables of what people teach you how to use trend lines. Most people will teach you use the trend line to act as support, resistance, or whatever the case. You know, there's many ways of people using the trend lines, but I'm not using the trend line as support resistance. We're just basically framing the structure. So connect the highs and lows. That's all you need to do. Okay. Euro CAD buy from the bottom. I think some people say Euro CAD sell, right? But if you reach the bottom here, if it doesn't continue breaking out and lower, then certainly it's possible. I didn't get in on the sell here. I think some of you guys got in on the sell when they break the low. So basically you had an impulse down and then first continuation correction. Some of you guys got in on the sell. And I mentioned depending on what the price will do when it reaches the bottom here, right? If it can break lower, then it's certainly bearish downside is very possible. But I did also mention if it correctly moved down to the low here, and possible is going to be up move, right? So whatever fits your plan to look for a potential entry. I don't stream daily. I would stream twice a week. I would stream today, Monday New York session. I would stream on Wednesday New York session as well to a weekly market outlook. So I've been doing the streams twice a week. I save all the stream here on TradingView if you want to watch them, or I save all my stream here in my YouTube, which is I think over a year now. If I can, right? This is the midweek market outlook. I've been streaming it for over a year. And I have the weekly trading market outlook, which is the one you're in today. I've been doing this for more than a year already, so it's been a while. But you can watch them free on TradingView or YouTube, depending on where you watch it from. Either or is fine. So. Can I make a video on using Kraken? Maybe, but you can find all the information on Kraken itself, right? There's many information. Just go on their actual official website. They have videos on there as well. They teach everything. Massive news just came out. Well, same idea here, right? Doesn't change. If we're looking for a bullish point of view, if the news is going to fuel this bullish up move, then wait for the price to break out and continuation is always the best idea here. Aussie Swiss long or short, please let me know about long or short. Can you tell me about your ebook? Yeah, ebook is all the information is in this page, right? If you go on click on my main linking page, this is in my description, right? You can find out more about it in this section here. All my ebook stuff, coaching stuff, it's on here. You can read up about it. All the information is here, so you can read up about it if you want. Yeah, I do see Solana being bullish. I usually pair with USD, but probably it's the same with compared to Bitcoin. But it's actually a little bit different. But it looks like this is more of a bearish move now. Okay, here's the difference: is when I was looking at Solana to USD or USDT, is looking much bullish, like this. Whereas this is looking more bearish, right? Looks like an up move and then a reversal down move. And if this is going to continue correct a little bit longer, this almost looks like a bearish move rather than a bullish move. I don't usually trade or buy Solana based on Bitcoin. I buy Solana just from US dollar that way. Okay, I like to just buy from US dollar rather than another crypto. That's just me personally. But if this does look a little bit more bearish to me rather than bullish in this point of view. Whereas if you look at Solana with US dollar, it's looking more bullish to me personally. Looking for an upside here if we get a correction. Prepare your watch list. I think I made several videos on this before. Forecast, maybe this video, how to scan the market daily, reduce emotional trading. I think this all explains how I prepare my watch list and things like that, but it's really not something that it's different than what you will be doing, right? I scan the market just like anybody will scan the market in the beginning of the week. Let's say Saturday or Sunday, I will go through my entire market, commodities, cryptocurrency, indices. I'm going through every single pair and I'm looking at every single development of the price. If I see something I like, I flag it, right? If I don't see something, I just move on. I will basically not click at it again. The more you try to click on the things that it doesn't apply, the more you're trying to justify an entry or justify a bias in which you end up entering which doesn't fit your plan. This is why we filter the trades all the time so we don't take so many unnecessary trades for no apparent reasons. That's really all we are doing. So I flag them and then I'll flag them in different colors. Whatever that stands out more, that's the one I'm going to focus on a little bit more. And whatever that is less color, then I'm going to not focus on a lot more, but they can still develop into the setup that I want to see. And what do I look for completing correction? Just like what I've been talking about for months, my friend. You know exactly what I look for, right? So waiting for correction, right? Waiting for the correction to form. Do we have a few swing highs and few swing lows? Do we have multi-time frame analysis, top-down approach? Is the higher time frame aligned up with the lower time frame? Is the lower time frame giving you the confirmation and the entry? All that above, right? So you've been hearing me this says for a month now, right? So this should be in your head already, right? I'm trying to push you to another level. So if you haven't grasped this or you haven't come up with what I'm doing, then put in a little bit more time and effort, because I've been saying these for months and months, right? And you've been watching my stream for months and months as well. So I challenge you to be more at it, okay? Herman says, how do you keep being motivated to learn about even though when you feel like you have exhausted all lessons? I have watched all your video and practice and so on. I tend to slack off thinking that I know. Well, the best way to is look at your results, right? Are you being how is your result? I don't need to know the answer, but my question is, how is your result compared to what you want? Are you at the point where you want, or are you not at the point you want, right? Are you at a consistent level, or are you not at a consistent level? Again, these are the only answer. These answers only you will know, right? You don't need to tell me or others, but it's just you ask yourself: are you at a consistent level? Are you happy with your trading result every week and every month? Are you generating money, and are you being consistent, or are you still taking? Are you still being emotional from time to time? Are you being or are you taking a lot of revenge trading or non-revenge trading, things like that, right? Ask yourself, are you at a level where you are, right? Compare to yourself from previous week, previous month, or previous year to see how much you have improvement. You have exhausted the videos that I offer. Maybe you can watch other people's video, or maybe you can tweak some aspect of your trading, whether that is your entry, whether that is your management, whether that is your mindset, right? There's always things that you can tweak to make better, right? Because if you're exhausted with all the lessons, then certainly I would be exhausted with my lessons as my learning as well, but I am not, right? My point here is I am not exhausted in learning. Right, I'm trading 8 years. Next year will be 9 years. I'm not exhausted. I'm continue to learn every day, every week, every month. Find new things to learn. Work on the aspect you need to work on. Can your journal be improved? Can your trading result can be improved? Yeah. If they can be improved, then keep working on it. Right. Don't be ever satisfied or enough. Right. When the moment when we stop learning is the moment we're going to stay neutral and just pedaling neutrally, and you're not moving forward. You're just staying there, and you'll watch people around you to continue advance and continue be ahead of you, right? Even though it's not a good thing to compare to others, but by you not moving forward, you're letting other people to get ahead of you, right? So, and that usually put a sense of urgency in yourself as well. So push yourself, right? There's always more improvement you want, right? There's always more things we want, right? We're human beings. We want things we want in life, whether that is, you know, money is definitely one thing, but like, maybe self-achievement, self-actualization, spending more time that you can do with your family, friends, or whatever the case may be, but use that to fuel your motivation. That would be much better, right? So Earth, it's okay to be 10 plus pairs, right? If you look at my watch list, I have probably around that, but I filter them in different color and I filter them in different setups, right? So it's fine you have more than 10, it's fine, right? I'm not saying you cannot have more than 10, it's just within those 10 that you have, you should filter them even more. Like you can see, the orange one I have on my watch list is more primary watch list, right? Primary, secondary, right? Things like that, right? You can flag them anything you want, right? Like you can have secondary watch list, primary watch list, so you know what to click on first, and then click on the secondary next, right? Etc. Right? That's kind of what I mean. I don't mean you shouldn't have watch list or multiple. It's fine, right? It's okay as long as you can filter them more in detail about what is primary, secondary, or third, etc. So every trade is unique and never the same. Yeah, exactly, my friend. So all right, everyone. So I think that is it for me. Unless there is any other questions that I can help you answer as of now. Any other questions or any question you would want to know? I'm not in any trade at the moment. Like I said, I'm zero trades at the moment. I'm not seeing anything at the moment. But like I said, I still like dollar yen. I still like Euro Aussie, and Aussie Kiwi is looking pretty clean as well. So I think there is definitely opportunities in them moving forward. But for certainly some development can happen on these Aussie or Kiwi pairs that we could potentially get involved in as well. But we'll see how that goes, right? Again, it's just a patient game. The the reward comes to people who wait and have patience, right? People who don't have patience usually enter trades too prematurely, too soon, or risk too much. They usually overtrade a little bit. What ends up happening is they lose a few trades or multiple trades, and then stop trading for a bit, or get upset about it, and just to see the trade works out perfectly the following day, right? I have experienced that early in my trading career. I'm sure some of you guys will experience the same thing as well. Is like, let's say you anticipating this sell move, and you enter multiple sell here, never work out, and then you lost a few positions, you lost some money here, and you kind of get fed up, you quit, or you just stop trading for 1 or 2 days, and when you turn back on the screen just to see the move has played out, right? That is the psychology thing we need to deal with. Okay. Can one hedge crypto using Forex position? I don't think they correlate in any sense. Like, you would think that whatever crypto that is paired with the dollar would pair with the will be correlated to the Forex dollar. Not necessarily at all, to be honest. So I wouldn't say hedge between crypto and Forex, at least from my perspective. I think they're totally two different markets. Just because they are paired with US dollar doesn't mean that when the US dollar drops, crypto drops too. Not necessarily. That's what I mean. It could, at a short period of time, they're being bearish and they're being bearish together, but doesn't mean that when the US dollar drops, crypto drops as well. Not necessarily here. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here. It's been about an hour and 50 minutes, so pretty appreciated that you guys joined me today, and I hope the quality is good. I hope the sound is good, and I hope all that is good from your end. If you guys have any suggestions, on the quality of the stream, please let me know, because I'm trying to improve it every session. So if the current quality, guys, on YouTube is okay, I'm going to keep the same quality. Hopefully the sound is okay, hopefully the video quality is okay, and I'm going to keep it like this until further notice. If you have any other suggestion, let me know, of course, but I think this is fine. Aussie Kiwi just broke out. I'm not sure what breakout are you talking about, but I haven't seen a breakout yet, at least from my perspective. I drew the structure again, connecting the highs and lows, right? So I haven't seen the breakout yet, at least from my perspective. This has to break out here and correct. That's something I would enter. Okay, but if you already enter or whatever the case, follow your plan, right? Always follow your plan. Okay, so I'm not always right either, right, guys? Remember this. I'm perfectly fine giving my analysis, my outlook, but how you decide to enter, how much you want to risk, what is your management, what is your stop loss, what is your position, all that is all up to you. All right. Audio quality is better on Trading View. Okay, thanks to Orlando, I appreciate that. YouTube is perfect today. Also, video 10HP available. Thank you, Earth. I actually wanted to ask you that. So I'm glad the quality 10HP is there. I'm glad the audio is good. Just keeping it like this for now. But obviously, if there's some changes or something like that happen, let me know and I can try to improve on it. So thank you very much, guys, and I will talk to you guys all on Wednesday, 14 o'clock GMT, as always, for my New York session, the market update, midweek market update. I will see you guys then. All right, thank you very much, and see you guys all next time. All right, thank you.